Welcome to GDS Mastery, your ultimate guide to mastering global distribution systems.
In this lesson, we will cover what Amadeus Ticket Changer is, how the ATC process works, the pricing transactions for ATC, an explanation of the reissue panel. Some reissue examples will be shown with ATC. No additional collection and penalty collected as an EMD. Reissue with no additional collection and penalty collected as a tax. Reissue with no additional collection and residual value as an EMD. Reissuing using fair families. Revalidation. We will also take a look at how to recognize an exchange that is not guaranteed and when we will use the involuntary reissue entry, and where to find more information. From now on, when we talk about Amadeus Ticket Changer, we will say ATC. Amadeus Ticket Changer is a suite of products used to automatically reprice and prepare documents for reissue and revalidation, and to process refunds of electronic tickets based on IATA industry standards. It allows the application of both voluntary and involuntary airline policies with accurate and guaranteed results for those airlines that file Category 31 named voluntary changes. In this lesson, we will focus on the reissue and revalidation process. So how does Amadeus Ticket Changer work? Amadeus Ticket Changer processes complex exchanges in seconds. Based on the details of the original ticket and using the fare filing in ATP code Category 31, ATC determines the appropriate fare and tax differences, change penalty, and residual value applicable to that trip, taking care of the airline's policies. This process, based on the voluntary changes Category 31, guarantees the exchange. If the airline does not file in the Category 31 named voluntary changes, ATC could work based on Category 16 named penalties with a no guarantee result. To check airline and market deployment information, enter FQN ATC/CXR. Reissuing an e-ticket manually can take up to 14 steps to complete. ATC reduces the steps required down to only 4 or 5 by automating some of those tasks. The key to using ATC is the pricing entry. There are 4 different entries, each with a different purpose and would display different results. FXF and FXE are informative pricing transactions. They check fare conditions and penalties, calculate cost differences, and return the information to the agent in the reissue panel or ATC repricing panel without changing the booking. The difference between these entries is that FXF calculates the price difference using the existing booking classes, and FXE calculates the best available price for the change. FXQ and FXO are confirmed pricing transactions and do everything an informative pricing transaction does, plus they also update the fare elements, TST, and the PNR. The difference between these entries is that FXQ calculates the price difference using the existing booking classes, and FXO calculates the best available price for the change, and both save this information. All transactions can be used independently or can be used with additional options for more accurate results. You can find a list of options in the ATC Reissue Reference Guide or in the help pages. Let's take a look at some examples of how ATC works. Our first example is a reissue with no additional collection fare, and the penalty will be collected as an EMD. On this PNR, Ms. Isik wants to know how much it would cost to change her return flight from Paris to Rome 2 days prior. Use the following rebooking entry, SB 23 September 3, where SB is a transaction code, 23 September is the new date, and 3 is the segment number to be changed. The flight date is now changed. Note that the FA element is no longer associated to segment 3. As we don't want to process the change yet, don't save the PNR and use the ATC informative command to reprice. Enter FXF. This is the ATC pricing panel. It contains in the top of the panel the passenger name, last ticket date, fare family details, service details, and fare restrictions if applicable. The new itinerary details with the new date, the old and new base fare amounts plus the balance or difference in the local currency, the old and new tax amounts and balance, the ticket difference corresponding to base fare balance plus tax balance, the penalty amount, the grand total corresponding to ticket difference plus penalty, any residual value amount if applicable, and the fare family detail if applicable. If you return to the PNR with RT, it's the same. And have a look at the TSD by entering TQT. Nothing was modified, and this is because FXF is an informative pricing entry. Let's find now if there could be a cheaper fare for reissue. In the case you do not want to process yet, use the informative best pricer entry FXE. You can see on the ATC repricing panel the following message: no rebooking required for lowest available fare. It is because there is no cheaper fare and the passenger already has the best available solution. These pricing entries also can be used with options. For example, if this passenger also wanted to know the cost for traveling business class, you can use the following entry, FXE, along with the option /KC, where /case is the indicator for cabin, C is the class cabin indicator for business. In the top of the pricing panel, you can see the suggested command FXO to change booking class, and in the itinerary, the correct booking class is O for this pricing. On this result, you can see differences on fare and taxes if changed to the business class cabin. Remember, no changes are made to the booking with the informative pricing entry used. Enter RT to return back to the PNR. Now, let's proceed with a confirmed pricing transaction. In the economy cabin, because the passenger doesn't want to pay any additional fare, use FXQ to reprice a new date and booking class as original. The pricing panel is the same, and when the PNR is retrieved, there is a number of new elements. On the PNR header line, you can see a TSM indicator created in order to collect the penalty charge using an EMD. There is now a service element as SVC on line 4, indicating an auxiliary segment associated to the TSM. There is also 2 new fare elements associated to segments 2 and 3. The endorsement element, FE, and the FO element, which contains the original ticket number. Let's have a look at the TSD by entering TQT. Notice that the TSD is now prepared for exchange. The issue status has been changed to R for reissue, and the tax status codes have changed to O. That means they are already paid. The total value is 0. The Fair Calculation Pricing Indicator and TST indicator shows that the TST has been automatically priced. See on line 12, the original form of payment was automatically changed to O/CCVI, and we don't need to change or add any other information. This is not the same in all markets, and in some office IDs needs to be changed manually. Take note that the TST number is 2, as we'll need this information to reissue the e-ticket later. Enter TQM to display the TSM. Then add the form of payment in the TSM, PMI/FP-cash. Take note that all information related with the EMD must be entered into the TQM with the command TMI. If multiple TSMs exist, it's mandatory to specify the number of the TSM where the information should be entered as TMI/M1/FP-cash. Now save the booking with RF ;ER and ER again. The documents are now ready to issue. In this scenario, you can issue the e-ticket and the EMD at the same time by using the entry TTP/TTM/RT, where TTP is to issue the e-ticket, TTM is to issue the EMD, and /RT is added to the end of the entry to stay in the PNR. The reissued e-ticket and the EMD have been issued and the passenger is ready to travel. Type RT to display the PNR. Take a look to the new documents. The reissue e-ticket is on line 7 and the EMD on line 8. To display the new e-ticket, enter TWD and the FA line number 7. This is a no additional collection e-ticket. From this new e-ticket, you can also display the original ticket by entering TWD/O*. You can see on this e-ticket status, E for exchanged. To display the penalty EMD, enter EWD. I want to show you the ICW issued in conjunction with ticket was created automatically and correspond to the last e-ticket issue. Now ignore this example, end it to continue with other exercise. Our second example is about a reissue with no additional collection on the fare, and the penalty will be collected as a tax, working on a PNR with 2 e-tickets issued. One is Avianca for Medellin, Bogota, and the other is Lufthansa for Bogota, Frankfurt, Bogota. In this case, we needed to specify the e-ticket to be exchanged. Ms. Cordova wants to travel 3 days later on the Frankfurt to Bogota sector. Change the date for the return, segment number 4, using SB 14 November 4. Next, price the new itinerary using the ATC confirmed entry, FXQ/S3, 4, where FXQ is the confirmed pricing command for ATC /S3, 4 are the LH segments that would be repriced for reissue. Now, a warning message is returned. Provide ticket number to exchange. This is because two e-tickets are present in this PNR. Let's display with RTF. The LH e-ticket is located on line 9, so add it to our previous pricing entry, FXQ/S3, 4/T9, where T is the indicator for ticket and 9 is the line where the e-ticket is located on the PNR. On the reissue panel, some important information is displayed. At the top, we could see that the penalty is collected on the ticket. There is no fare or tax difference. However, there is an amount of USD $160 corresponding to the penalty for change. Each airline determines how they prefer to collect the penalty fee on the e-ticket, as in this example, or as an EMD document. This information can be found in the applicable fare rule. I'll display the TST to see how the penalty appears. Use the entry TQT and then TQT/T3 to view the TST number 3 associated to segments 3 and 4. The X indicates a new tax is being paid in this reissue calculation. The penalty is showing as tax number 1 with the tax code DU. Look the original form of payment located on line 18. The 1 was automatically changed when using the FXQ pricing format. Next, we need to add to this original form of payment the new one for the penalty on the ticket. We will learn how to add information on a form of payment that already exists in a PNR. The one associated to the LH segments is on line 18. So enter 18/+/cash, where 18/ is the number of line where the FPO is located. +/ is the delimiter indicator to let the system know what the new form of payment is. So cash is the new FOP. In this example, no EMD is required. At this point, we are ready to issue the e-ticket using TTP/RT. A warning message is returned. In order to use the correct TST, we must use T3, associated to segments 3 and 4. Let's issue the e-ticket staying in the PNR and issuing the TST for the reissue. Then enter TTP/T3/RT and then RT again. Then you can see an FA element on line 10 for Lufthansa with the penalty amount collected of $160. Again, ignore to continue with the next exercise. On our third example, we'll review how to reissue with no additional collection fare, and a residual value will be issued on an EMD. In this example, we have to give money back to the customer. He purchased a business class ticket and now wants to change it to an economy class. Note that while this is a valid workflow with ATC, some airlines will only allow reissues to the same or a more expensive fare. So ATC will work considering those airlines' policies by default. If there is any doubt about the customer processing the change, you could use the informative pricing entry with the cabin option. FXE/KY, where FXE is the ATC command for informative reprice, /K is the indicator for cabin option, and Y is the class cabin indicator. There you could see the suggested command to rebook, FXO. Also, in the itinerary, we could see the classes to be rebooked to confirm this fare. Retrieve the PNR so you can see that any change have been made and the PNR keeps on C class. Now let's apply the entry to rebook and process the best confirmed price in economy with the cabin option to change. FXO/KY, where FXO is the ATC command for confirmation reprice, /K is the indicator for cabin option, and Y is the class cabin indicator. The panel result shows at the top the statement itinerary rebooked, and you can see the balance result with a negative difference in the ticket total and an additional collection of USD 80 cents. Retrieve the PNR and look at the new booking class, O and S, in the air segments and the status code DK that confirm the changes are in process. We also have a TSM indicator in the header line associated to the service line for the residual value for further travel, RSVT, on line 5. Depending on airline settings, the residual value can be used for refund or further travel. Display the TSM by typing TQM. As you can see, the total collection in the TSM is set to 0, whereas the exchange value is USD $4,063.55, as seen in the repricing panel. You can see as well the original ticket number inserted in the FO element. Now enter TQT to display the TST, where an additional collection of USD 80 cents for the extra taxes from number 1 to number 4. Next, it's necessary to update the form of payment for all documents. For the ticket, we'll update the form of payment on the original form of payment located on line 13. /+/cash, where 13 is the original form of payment, / is a separator, +/ is the indicator for the new form of payment, and cash is the new form of payment. Press enter and then move down to see how the information was updated on the PNR. For the EMD, as it is for the residual value, it will be issued in exchange of the original ticket, and you need to include the original form of payment and not a new one, since any amount is going to be paid. Enter TMI/FP-O/cash, where TMI is the format to insert information on the EMD, /FP is a separator with the form of payment indicator, and dash. O is for original, /cash includes a separator with the original form of payment cash. Enter and save the PNR with RF and ER. When a residual value would be issued, it is mandatory to print ticket and EMDs at the same time. Enter TTP/TTM/RT. We have two FA elements on the PNR. One on line 9 with ETAV indicator for USD 80 cents that corresponds to the total difference in taxes. The other one on line 10 with a DTAV indicator for $0. That corresponds to the EMD for the residual value and is associated to the service on line 5. Let's display the EMD, EWD. Look into the exchange value, that is the total amount in favor to the customer in further travel. You can also see the ICW ticket number that corresponds to the new e-ticket reissued, and it was automatically updated. In the Office ID sales report, you could also advise that any charge was made to the EMD document. Note, if you do not want to refund the residual value, you will need to delete the service line from the PNR using the XE entry. If the residual value applies for a refund, it will be done via BSP report. Again, ignore to continue with the next exercise. In this fourth example, we will work a reissue using fare families. Fare families is a selection of fares the airlines offer according some criteria based on similar fare conditions and services. Let's look at an example of a reissue using fare families. Mr. Smith has purchased a ticket belonging to the fare family Maine. The one does not include any free bag. If we display the TQT, there is any bag included. And now he realized that needed 2 free bags and asked for a fare with those conditions, and also need to change the return flight to 24th of October. First, change the flight on segment 3 with the command we have practiced before. SB 24 OCT 3. Next, reprice the confirmed best price command using the fare family name FIRFL. Enter FXO/FF-FIRFL. If multiple flight reservations are present in the same PNR, it's possible to select specific segments to be repriced by entering FXO/FF-FIRFL/S2, where FXO is the ATC command to reprice, /FF-FIRFL is the option with the fare family name to be applied. /S2, 3 is the specific segments to be repriced. The reissue panel is displayed showing the 2 baggage allowed, a fare difference, and also the penalty of USD $200. A useful follow-up entry is shown on the screen. To demonstrate, let's enter FQF/ATC1. With this entry, you can see the fare family information from the previous ticket, and if you move down, all the details of the new pricing will be displayed. To redisplay an ATC repricing panel, use the entry TQR. When the panel is redisplayed using this entry, it is slightly different from the display that follows a pricing transaction. At the top, you can see the TSD and ticket numbers, but you don't see the itinerary details, and any annotations are shown on this display. Retrieve the PNR and then the TST. On this transitional ticket, we could see the command used to reprice, the 2 free bags included, and the penalty charge on the ticket located in tax number 1 for USD $200 with the CP code. Now, to finalize the exchange, update the form of payment on the TST using the short entry to update. 13/plus/cash. Enter a receipt from comment if your market requires and issue the flight ticket. RFEXCH semicolon TTP/RT. If using TWD/L9, you can see the 2 bags included. R as the indicator for reissue, the total taxes and taxes with paid indicator. Let's display the taxes panel for details with TWD/tax. We could see on the first line all the new taxes charged, and in the second line all the paid taxes. Again, ignore to continue with the next exercise. In the next example, we'll learn how to revalidate with ATC help. All the examples we have seen in this lesson so far have required to reissue the e-tickets when an itinerary is changed. In some cases, FAIR rules indicate that a reissue is not required when changes are made. So now let's take a look at how to do a revalidation or update to an existing ticket number without a penalty collection. First, change the flight details using the change entry, SB 19 October 3. Price using the informative pricing entry, FXF. ATC has checked all rules and advises to revalidate the ticket, and there is no penalty amount to be collected as shown in the panel. Enter TQT. Note that if any penalty may apply and it needed to be charged on an EMD, you can use any confirmed pricing as FXQ to create a service segment and create an EMD automatically for penalty fee. Then proceed with the next step we will show you. Take note of the following information to construct the command for revalidation. First, the FA line number is line 8. The segment that was changed is number 3. And the coupon number with TWD we could see is coupon 2. Taking this information into account, we will build the revalidation command. Type TTP/ETRV/L8/S3/E2, where TTP is the command to process, /ETRV is to revalidate the document, L8 is the FA line number, S3 is the segment number of the new booking, and E2 is the coupon number to be revalidated. The system responds, OK processed, and the record locator. Retrieve the PNR to check the ticket details. You can now see that the e-ticket number is the same. And now compare this itinerary with the e-ticket image by entering TWD. Here you can be sure the e-ticket matches with the new itinerary. We show that revalidating is very easy. So now, ignore to continue practicing. On the sixth example, we will learn how to recognize an exchange that is not guaranteed. ATC can be used to assist with the reissue of tickets on airlines who do not file Category 31 named voluntary changes. In those cases, the reissues are not guaranteed. Amadeus uses the Category 16 named penalties to obtain a result and the penalty fee amount to be applied. Let's see this PNR for Mr. Huamani with H2, and he wants to change his flight for the 29th of June. And reprice with FXQ. For those airlines, in the top of the panel is where could be found the not guarantee message. You will check the fare rules to ensure that the penalty is correct and or confirm direct with the airline before processing. Then, complete any mandatory element as FOP before printing. Issue your tickets as usual. At this point, you can recognize a no guarantee repricing. Ignore and let's see an additional exercise. Our next example, we will show how to use ATC for involuntary reissues. ATC can also be used to assist with involuntary reissues. This is when flight's date and or time have been changed by the airline and the ticket must be reissued to show the new flight details. Please note that this entry is not available in all markets, office IDs, or for all airline or interline reissues. Please check with your Amadeus representative. Usually, when an involuntary change is received, the original flight would show UN status and a new one with TK status will appear. They mean UN is unable and the flight does not operate or service is not provided. TK is confirmed and need to advise passenger new times. If the customer accepts the schedule change, then you can save using RF and ERK. The K in the ER command will delete the unavailable segment and change to OK the new confirmation, as you could see. Then use FXI to convert the TST to a reissue condition. Note, when using this entry, the original TST is used and updated to be an even exchange with no additional collection. The FO line shows an *I at the end for involuntary reissue. The endorsement elements shows invol reroute or schedule change, depending on the office ID or airline policy. The FCPI pricing indicator is set to manual. So now, just reissue. Use TTP/RT to issue the new e-ticket and retrieve the PNR. When retrieving the new e-ticket with TWD/L7, the e-ticket is reissued with no additional cost to the passenger. You've seen how to use ATC in various reissue and revalidation situations. We'll like to share some hints when using ATC. Informative pricing is handy to use if a passenger simply wants a price for a change and has not confirmed. The TST or the TSM number in the issue entries are not mandatory in all situations. It is recommended that they are included as a safeguard. Always check that the reissue is guaranteed by ATC at the top of the panel and or check the fare rules before finalizing. TQR will redisplay the reissue panel at any time. If a PNR includes multiple passengers, the reissue panel will display a summary. You can move down within the panel to see more details for each passenger. On residual value for refund, be sure the airline is able to do in your market. If not, you only need to cancel the segment with the service with XE. And that's it. Thank you for watching this lesson.
Thanks for watching GDS Mastery. Don't forget to subscribe for more travel industry tips.